Folks, at the time of recording this, it's Friday. That's typically a good thing, and I hope to make it a better thing for you, as now you have another Rome 2 battle to watch. I know that there are many of you who really enjoy this, specifically because, some folks never made the transition into Warhammer, but I also know that there was actually some folks who were big Warhammer fans who ended up liking those games from Total War and then found their way to these historical games. So it's an interesting path for everyone. In any case, let's start taking a look at the armies in this one. It is going to be another Sub-Commanders battle. This is done on the Unconquered Sun mod, for those not familiar, and that mod is specifically based to add in units and balance around the Sub-Commanders game mode. In Sub-Commanders, you have 3 players. Player 1 controls the melee infantry, Player 2 controls spears and missiles, and Player 3 controls the cavalry. So each faction plays a particular role. In this case, the Servile Rebellion is playing as the missiles and spears. Probably not a bad place for them to be living. They've got a couple of rebel marksmen. Their general is the Champions of Capua. They've got some rebel veteran spears, which I believe are like, what do you call it? The, I don't know why their name is escaping me right now. Thurio spears, that's what I was looking for. We got rebel militia. Looks like rebel elite skirmishers as well. So some slingers up front, some skirmishers, couple of bowmen. Carthage is taking up the melee infantry player. They've got a mercenary guard here, which is a very tanky infantry unit added in this mod. Should be a really fun one, and the commander is Hannibal there. There's Gallic warriors up front. Yeah, some Scutari, Libyan infantry, 2 of those Libyans. So Carthage is a very competent melee faction in this mod because of the amount of troops they can bring, and there's a pretty good variety too between the Iberian swords, stuff like Scutari, Libyan infantry, lot of variety, a lot of potential there in Carthage's part. For Macedon, we've got companion cavalry, Thessalian cavalry, so a couple of nice shot cavalry, and that is, the commander is Alexander. Lots of Thessalian cavalry here. That's kind of cool because that can be a very cost-effective cavalry unit. And then we've got mercenary Thracian cavalry, very good in a melee after discharging their javelins. Short-range skirmishers should be interesting. On the other side, we also... did I say Servile Rebellion over here? Yeah, I did. Okay, good. On the other side, we've got the Servile Rebellion too, and they also have some rebel skirmishers, though these are a cheaper version. These are Peltist. Going to be cheap and high in numbers, so it could be effective at getting up here and diminishing the number of slingers. There's a rebel slingers, it looks like 3 of those behind, and then I'm seeing some rebel militia, rebel spears, and marksmen, and a champion of Capua in the back, along with some more rebel spears. Ooh, this Macedonian cavalry. It made a feint charge and could have gotten absolutely annihilated. I think it got out of there pretty well, all things considered. Let's take a look at the Masegete out here playing player 3 for the other side. They got cataphract horse archers up front, mixed with steppe horse archers, 2 of those and then 1 noble. They've got a steppe lancer. Looks like 2 of the steppe lancer units out there. And then for the melee infantry, looks like the Kush, which is going to be potentially very dangerous. Here comes Macedon again. This time they are going to push the charge all the way in, but that's right into a rebel militia, which is actually a hoplite unit. And that did not end too well. I say it's a hoplite unit. It's actually more of an Alexandrian, like a very cheap Alexandrian phalanx. So yeah, that did not end well for the Thessalian cavalry. It is basically dead. The mercenary Gallic warriors are pushing forward, and Kush back here does have a single armored Shotel warriors. We have disciples of Epidemic and more Shotel warriors. Should be a very dangerous line, and a Royal Kushite archer general. The Masegete cavalry is very dangerous. They're not going to be amazing in melee. There are 2 of them that will be pretty good in melee, but their skirmish capability is significant, and then the cataphract horse archers will do well in melee, as well as the noble horse archers towards the end of a fight. That rebel militia is an interesting unit. It provides a nice screen, because melee infantry doesn't just want to charge it straight on, and here, see, they're using it to fix a unit and kind of give them trouble from 2 sides. So the rebel militia unit does have some interesting flexibility. The damaged Thessalians and another unit came in to help clean up a unit with these mercenary Gallic warriors, but so far it seems like the red team is causing a considerable amount of damage in its efforts to skirmish. So I'm not sure if the home team is getting a great trade yet. And again, this rebel militia making maneuvering around the flank difficult, but Actually, this is a rebel scavenger unit, my bad. That's not a militia. The militia is up here. They're an interesting target. They have huge numbers, and they provide a phalanx which, while not being insanely deadly, is still deadly and can slow down and cause them to be more cost efficient than they should be against certain units like this Scutari, for instance, which is maneuvering to try and get around them. But it's also taking fire in the process, so you don't have great maneuverability with militia, but you do have some ability to disrupt. Look at this. The Mercenary Guard getting up close to this fight. Carthage has kind of been throwing in infantry units piecemeal here. They still have their heavy infantry in reserve, but they've thrown a lot of their light and medium infantry in pretty far ahead of reinforcements. And some damage done to both sides. It still shows the power bar fairly equal. We've got an ability going on back here. It's the Rebellion and I Am Spartacus thing here, which is going to be adding some capability to the Servile Rebellion of the red-bannered team here. Those Champions of Capua had pushed up but are now falling back. They're a very devastating unit. Not huge in number, but they make up for that in pretty high quality. So they're kind of the opposite of these most rebel units. They're low in number and very high quality. That's the way the rebels play, right? They are kind of a mixed bag of units. We got Relentless popped now too, which is going to improve the attack of all of the red-bannered side here. And we are going to see the Libyans go ahead and commit over here. There's a Scavenger and the Champions of Capua engaging them. There's a lot of bodies up against the Libyan infantry, and Champions of Capua are pretty capable. Yeah, look at that right now. 99 attack right now. That is absolutely obscene. That Libyan infantry is not doing very well in this fight, so that is not a great situation. The slave infantry, so there's just too many bodies stacked against the Libyan infantry here, so well done by the other team, just going with pure numbers there. Boy, that Mercenary Scutari got a lot of kills, 200 and something kills. The infantry it's up against, of course, is high in number, but still, like that's a lot of kills. I feel like the melee infantry for the blue and yellow bannered team here is going to be running low. I'm trying to figure out where Hannibal's bodyguard ended up, the Mercenary Guard. It's over here on the flank. Okay, so it made its way over to the flank. And right now it's got the outmaneuver it was looking to maneuver. Champions of Capua moving over to it after devastating that Libyan infantry. And now Hannibal getting absolutely wrapped up on here by multiple units. And it's a very tanky unit, the Mercenary Guard, but this is a lot to take on over here. There's a lot of units. It's got 87 kills, though, so it's not incapable, that Mercenary Guard. Kushite Slave Infantry, where's that Armored Shotel? This unit right here is going to be a force to be reckoned with. Look at that Companion Cavalry, get a nice charge. Trying to soften up the Disciples there. Libyan Infantry on the flanks. That Slave Infantry probably routed. These replays are a little bit glitched because there was a small update, but they are still representing pretty much what happened in the replay, so we haven't had an issue with that. But if you see little things like that, that's what it is. Rebel Militia up against Kushite Slave Infantry. That's a noodle fight if we've ever seen one. Look at this here. We've got an Armored Shotel Warrior kind of up in a wall formation. I think they were bracing to try and fend off potential cavalry attacks. I don't think they're going to stay here for too terribly long. But yeah, there we go. So a lot of maneuvering here on the flank too. The Massagetei Horse Archers still kind of having to keep track of the Thracian cavalry, which is good because it means that this cavalry is not taking place in the fight. However, those Steppe Lancers have tried to make their way over here. You can see the cavalry units kind of bouncing around in there with the infantry units. Let's check out the Mercenary Guard here. It's got 122 kills. Champions of Capua trying to fight their way through this. They got hit by a Thessalian cavalry. I Am Spartacus goes off again, so there's going to be use the whip. That Champions of Capua unit down to low numbers, but fair number of kills, and some of those are pretty high quality kills. But this Libyan infantry and the Mercenary Guard has these units pincered pretty good now. The Armored Shotel Warrior almost looks like it's just being ignored at the moment, for the most part. This Champions of Capua is going to engage it along with the Rebel Veteran Spearmen. I didn't know the Shotel Warriors had the javelins like that. Maybe they've always had that. Anyway, they're going to go into their shield wall formation and try and last longer. That Champion of Capua should get some good kills. It looks like maybe, I can't... Oh, okay, that Rebel Spearman charged in from behind. It was getting difficult to tell who was on which team. These Rebel Marksmen have expended their ammunition. They're not bad in a melee. Now they're firing back here towards the Thessalian cavalry. Or they have not expended their ammunition, my bad. Yeah, the Rebel Marksmen and Elite Skirmishers are going to be decent melee combatants as well, which is about to be tested here as that Slave Infantry charges in on them. I don't think a Slave Infantry is going to take these guys out. They're going to pull their spears and continue fighting. This Rebel Marksman, I can't tell what they're doing. They don't have, like, a secondary weapon out, so I think they're out of ammunition, though I'm not 100% certain here. It does look like Hannibal's bodyguard has survived, and then the last few vestiges here of this Mercenaries of Capua taking on that Libyan infantry. And the Mercenary Guard over here getting into some Rebel Slingers, and then there is a Step-Armored Lancer in here that's still being engaged by the Companion Cavalry. There is a Saka Cataphract unit that we didn't see earlier. It was brought out late. This is going to be a devastatingly powerful shock cavalry. So a potential very strong tool here. It's got second wind on it there, which will help reduce any fatigue it had previously taken. Certainly more than capable of going toe-to-toe with this Companion Cavalry, but it's not going to get the charge. It looks like it was targeting a different unit, maybe further back here. Again, could be the result of a replay glitch. I'm not 100% sure, but that Saka Cataphract's going to get caught up in here, and it looks like the blue and yellow bannered team is in a fairly confident position here. They've got a couple of dangerous units left, like this Shotel Warrior, and like that Cataphract, but there's starting to be a lot of their units left on the battlefield. You can see the Servile Rebellion skirmishers pushing forward, looking like that they're attempting to get into a melee at this point, which kind of makes sense, especially if they've expended that ammunition. Nope, the Rebel Marksmen are still firing. I think they might be able to fire whilst moving too. I don't 100% know there. The Cataphract Horse Archer is in bad shape, and the Saka Cataphract just got the Thunderbolt from Hannibal, so it's going to be moving very slowly. It's mixed up in there with a Kushite Royal Archer, which of course, those guys are slightly capable in melee. They're not amazing, not by any means, but they are more heavily armored and stuff. But yeah, it looks like it's a slide right now downhill for the red team. Obviously that didn't end exactly like it because there were still units left, but still I think showed the general outcome. And it did not take us to the end screen, so I apologize. Most of the replays that I'll have after this have been since the update on the mod, so if you've noticed that some of these got glitched out a little bit, but I also wanted to take time to show them because for the most part we're seeing them play out. It's just a little bit later down into the battle. Sometimes things change just a little bit, but in any case, hope y'all enjoyed that one. HeirofCarthage signing out for now. I'll be back soon with more in Total War Rome 2.